first car, 32 of Big Brandon. Alongside David 77 at the Martin Road. Road leader in this time, leading sponsor 5, 27 John Summerlin. Alongside Joe, number 76, Daniel Alcahal. Number 4, leads side 7th position, 17 of Tim Langley. Alongside Tim, the 477 of Bill Kelly. Number 5, leads side 75 of Floyd Road. And 77 J of Glenn Delgado. After road number 6, starting east side, spot number 11, and 123, Dennis Bogart. Now, the next had to go over now. Position Dirt 6, Dirt Sportsman. Walk on heat event, east side. 4 cars will qualify. He took it out, 7 blocks, ducking over and through. Each way. inside. On the outside, number 17 is going to be City Clement. Row number 2 on the inside is going to be 81. Tim Rod. On the outside, 18 is Gary Wood. Row number 3 inside is number 58 out of King New York. If it's any restaurant number 58, it's Johnny Streeter. Steve Mills, car number 1, goes on the outside of the third row. Row number 4 on the inside is Steve Birchall, car number 33. Gary Robinson, car number 54R. In the fifth row on the inside, so Caroline Eddie Redner on the outside. Our Townsend, car number 68. And Jennifer Colby, car number 15.
down to that fourth and final qualifying position. Billy Green right there like a shadow, going down the back straightaway, nose and tail. Billy Green moves up to the outside. Green stands on it down there in turns number 3 and 4 and grabs the final transfer spot, put the inside the fast lane. Out here tonight, and Bobby Ryder takes back over. 3 cars look for the number 4 spot. Bob Ryder and Billy Green goes and tail right now at turns number 1 and 2. 2 more times around. And a battle going on for the final transfer spot right now. Bobby Ryder back there, feeling the heat once again from Billy Green on the inside. Bobby Knight, a lot of horsepower in that car, moves up to the outside. The white flag comes out. One more time around. Paul Ross holds on to the lead. Jermaine second, Alton Palmer third, and Bob Ryder. Ryder doing a very, very good job back in the number 4 spot. Last lap racing action. Bobby Knight moves up to the outside. Knight slow shots down the back straightaway. Boniface, that is, back in the 18 car and grabs that final transfer spot as the checkered flag comes out for Paul Ross. Second spot, John Tremaine. Third, Alton Palmer. Fourth, it's Ken Boniface in the number 18 car.
Jim Tuit in car number 318 goes row number 2 on the inside, and Ray Bliss, car number 27, on the outside of row number 2. Ron Huber in car number 357, row number 3 on the inside. Car number 11 goes on the outside. That's Ted Malure in car number 11. The 4th row, Dave Werber, car number 1. Rick Mill, car number 44 on the outside of the 4th row. And in the last row, row number 5, the 85 of Phil Dickinson. On the outside, car number 24 will be Mike Saravino. All right, pace car getting set, swings into the inside. Race Safe system tells us we're ready to go racing here in part of the Sunoco. Race Safe, Hoosier Tire. Championship Trail qualifying night. Here they come down the front straightaway. It's the number 20K of Kevin Van Valkenburg. Up there to number 1 qualifying position. They shuffle the deck, working down between the corners. Bliss now up to the number 2 qualifying position. Tuit riding back there to number 3 spot. It looks like Jim Tuit looking down on the inside lane. Down into that number 3 corner. It's still Bliss holding on to the number 2 qualifying spot. Bliss way up on the outside. Van Valkenburg still holding on to the number 1 position. The 318 of Jimmy Tuit riding back in the number 3 spot. Gary Huber. Ronnie Huber, 357, riding in that 4th and final qualifying position right now. Meanwhile, a lot of the back markers now starting to come alive and starting to swing up through. Car number 44, Rick Mill, who started in 8th position, is now up to the number 5 spot. Keep your eyes on him. Car number 44. He's riding 5th. He's a 10-time feature winner this year and here at the Orange County Fair Speedway. And look at Mill. He goes to the outside part of the Speedway. Now looks to the inside. He's looking for a lane coming out of turn number 4. Coming down the front straightaway. The 357 of Ron Huber rides in that final qualifying spot. Huber staying right there in the fast lane. If Mill wants to go fast, he's got to go real fast as he goes and runs up on the outside part of the Speedway. Huber staying right there in the fast lane. We're coming up on the halfway spot. Coming down out of turn number 4. Your leader's coming down the front straightaway. Lead car continuing to be Van Valkenburg. Bliss rides in the number 2 spot. It's Tuit riding back there in the number 3 position. Mill still riding out of a qualifying position. Mill looks to the outside. Coming down the back straightaway. Rick Mill riding way up on that outside lane. It's Huber, though, holding into that 4th and final qualifying position. Leaders coming out the front chute one more time, and now Bliss looking quicker as he starts to put the pressure on Van Valkenburg for that number 1 position. And Van Valkenburg drops to the number 2 spot as Bliss takes away the lead as they come out of turn number 2 and head down the back straightaway. Bliss riding hard, going down in between the corners. The sign ready to come up onto the Speedway. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. Bliss is the leader. Mill now up to the number 2 position. It's Tuit riding in the number 3 spot, and what a battle for that 4th and final qualifying position. Huber staying right there on the inside lane. Huber trying to stay in the qualifying spot. All right, white flag is out, and Rick Mill. Winding down on the inside lane. Mill now taking that lead away. Bliss back to the number 2 spot. Bliss works out at turn number 2. He wants to challenge, come back up to the number 1 position. It may happen as they go down to the number 3 corner. Bliss looks down on the inside lane. Here they come, running to chase for the checker. Down the front straightaway they come. It's Mill taking a win. Bliss is going to be second. Tuit's going to be third. And the 357 of Ryan.
Like this, your pole sitter, the 74 car, Ryan Stortine. Alongside Ryan, the 45 of Eddie Sweetman. Row number 2, the 12C of Dave Kuhn, and the T31 of Drew Follis. Row number 3, the 04 Junior of Lenny Bogart. Alongside Lenny, the number 3 car, Ricky Lapine. Row number 4, the 8.5 of Herbie Roach. Alongside Herb, the number 10 car, Jimmy Spano. Row number 5, the 1S car, Greg Hickson. Alongside Greg, the 34S of Doug Shear, followed by the 19C of Gary Carl. So your current Hoosier Tire Mr. Dirt Sportsman point leader, Greg Hickson, back there in the number 1S car in 9th position. As the Fulton Chevrolet pace car moves down to the inside. Rear set for the green flag, coming out of turn number 4 this time. Ryan's 13 on the inside, the 74 car, Eddie Sweetman, the Yankees friendly service machine on the outside. The green flag flies, and here we go. Sweetman grabs that number 1 spot. Drew Follis on the outside, picking up spot number 2. Motoring down the back Speedway. Dave Kuhn on the inside for that 3rd spot. Eddie Sweetman holds on to the lead. Drew Follis in that green and white T31 car down to the inside, but here comes Kuhn on the outside. Putting up on the lap number 1 mark this time as Eddie Sweetman takes to the outside. Here comes Greg Hickson back there in the number 3 spot. Hickson wasting no time at all to grab himself a qualifying position. Point leader so far, Greg Hickson, the 1S car up there in the number 3 spot. Lenny Bogart rides back in spot number 4. Hickson drops down to the inside line against the T31 of Drew Follis. Follis motoring up on the outside line, Hickson down to the inside. Wheel to wheel, they motor out of turn number 4 this time. Eddie Sweetman holds on to the lead. Lenny Bogart back there in the number 4 spot. Doug Shear back there in spot number 5. Bogart takes the Peak Performance 04 Junior car up to the outside line. Bogart stands on it going down the back straightaway. Picks up the spot over Greg Hickson. Bogart working up on the outside very, very well. He puts the moves up on now for the number 2 spot challenge. Bogart on the outside. Drew Follis down on the inside. Eddie Sweetman brings him down the home straightaway. Greg Hickson drops down to the inside line against Drew Follis to pick up the number 3 spot. Lenny Bogart back there to the number 2 spot, and Eddie Sweetman takes him down the back straightaway. Bogart lining up the horsepower, motoring down the backstretch. He looks down to the inside. Bogart stands on it down there in turns number 3 and 4. He picks up the number 1 spot. Lenny Bogart, the Peak Performance 04 Junior car. Now your new race leader. Halfway point coming out this time. 4 laps down and 4 to go. Eddie Sweetman back there in the number 2 spot. Greg Hickson is 3rd, and Drew Follis back there in the number 4 spot. Yellow lights coming on, yellow lights coming out. The number 19 car sideways down there in turn number 2. That's Gary Carl. And Carl brings out the yellow right now with 5 laps down. 5 down, just 3 more to go. A single file restart. The T31 of Drew Follis. Fulton Chevrolet pace car back down to the inside, ready for the restart. 3 more times around the Orange County Speedway for heat number 5. Middletown down the home straightaway, and Lenny Bogart wastes no time at all. Doug Shear puts the moves on Drew Follis right now for the final transfer spot. Shear on the inside, the 34S car. And Doug Shear picks up the final transfer spot back there in spot number 4. Greg Hickson running up there in 3rd spot. Eddie Sweetman running on the outside for spot number 2. We're coming up on 2 laps to go. 2 to go this time around, and Greg Hickson grabs the number 2 spot. Sweetman goes a little bit too high. But it's Hickson and Shear drive for the 2nd and 3rd spots. Eddie Sweetman, the Yankees friendly service 45 car, back there in the hot seat right now. Coming up on the knitting. We've got problems down the back straightaway. 12C of Dave Kuhn gets around sideways down the back straightaway. 7 laps down, the yellow lights come on. All right, looking to pick up that $100 heat win posted by Duchess Overhead Doors. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car moves back down to the inside. Lenny Bogart knows it's time to go racing. Hot Shoe, point leader back there in the number 2 spot. Greg Hickson, they come down the home straightaway, nose and tail. Bogart knows that time is running out. The Hot Shoe is there. The freight train rolling right behind with Greg Hickson, the 1S car, back there in spot number 2. Doug Shearer back there in the 3rd spot. Eddie Sweetman holds on to spot number 4. Drew Follis and Gary Carl battling it out for spot number 5, and Follis goes to the outside. Here they come, the checkered flags out, the winner, Lenny Bogart. 2nd spot, Greg Hickson. 3rd, Doug Shearer, followed by Eddie Sweetman.
Beyond the pole, looks like Gary Sheldon, car number 518, outside of row number 1. Row number 2 on the inside of 118 of Johnny Bellinger. Brian Henson on the outside, car number 3. In the 3rd row on the inside, it's going to be Willie Osborne, car number 327. Tommy Mayer on the outside in the 33 in the 3rd car. Row number 4 on the inside, the 359 is going to be Jeff Carr. On the outside, it's going to be the 00 Junior of Ray Eckerly. In row number 5 on the inside, Johnny Holland, car number 911. J.D. Taylor on the outside, car number 6. And Bucky Tesoro in car number 27. Fulton Chevrolet pace car has swung in. We're going to get a start as they group together between turns number 3 and 4. Dave Kelly, car number 57, right there on the number 1 spot. But moving up on the outside, it's Gary Sheldon, car number 518, and we got a car cranked sideways. It's Sheldon, but he holds on to the handle. Sheldon doing a tremendous job, but look at the jam up over there. A couple of cars getting on the brakes, a couple of wheel climbers, and everybody getting away from it A-OK. So they shuffle the deck, and the racing continues, moving out of turn number 4. It's Kelly, car number 57, coming out of front straightaway. Correction on that, the 518 is Sheldon, your leader. The 118 rides up there, that's Johnny Bellinger in the number 2 spot. Kelly has dropped back to the number 3 position. Tommy Meyer in car number 33 and a 3rd. The 1991 track champion here at the Orange County Fair Speedway has moved into a qualifying spot, and now he is on the move as he moves up to the number 3 qualifying position. Tommy Meyer in the 33 and the 3rd car has moved up to the number 3 spot, and he is closing in quickly on Johnny Bellinger. Bellinger holding on to the number 2 qualifying spot. Meanwhile, the leader way out there on the front side, car number 518, Gary Sheldon. Sheldon holding on to that lead as he comes storming down the front straightaway. Sheldon up there on the top side. It's the 118 of Bellinger, 2nd. Mayer rides back there in the number 3 position. It appears to be Johnny Bellinger. Your 2nd place running car is starting to smoke, but right now Tommy Mayer goes to the outside part of the speedway. Mayer going right up to the outside. Mayer's got a lot of traction out there. He holds onto the handle between the high side of the speedway, and he brings it down here in the front straightaway. Halfway home, and Tommy Mayer's up to the number 2 qualifying position. It's Bellinger riding back there in the number 3 spot, and Kelly rides in the 4th and final qualifying spot. And the question is now, can the 33 and a 3rd of Tommy Mayer run down the leader? Car number 518, Gary Sheldon. We'll wait and see. We've got, here's your leader. 5 laps have been completed. Tommy Mayer is closing in. It's still Bellinger back there 3rd, and now the 359 of Jeff Carr has taken away that 4th and final qualifying spot. The 2-lap sign ready to come down on the leader. Here he comes, car number 518, Gary Sheldon. Tommy Mayer trying to close right in. Sheldon coming out of front straightaway. Mayer running them down, coming out of front straightaway. Tommy Mayer liking the race up on the outside here at Orange County Fair Speedway tonight. It's still the number 118 of Johnny Bellinger. Sheldon ready to take the white flag as they come down that front straightaway. The white flag is out. Guy Sheldon holding on to that lead. Mayer holds on to the number 2 spot. Less than a lap to go. Can Mayer catch him? Watch him as they come accelerating off the number 2 corner. Mayer's going to be working a draft going down the back straightaway. Mayer closes right in on Sheldon going in between turns number 3 and 4. The $100 bill is up in the air right now, and who's going to get it? Down the chute, it's Sheldon takes the win. Mayer is in the number 2 spot. It's Bellinger finishing third. And back there in the number 4 spot, it's going to be car number 359 of Jeff Carr. Those are your 6 qualifying heat
championship feature event. Floyd Rose takes him down the back straightaway right now. The caution lights have been turned out. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car, that beautiful 1991 Chevy Beretta pace car, moves down to the inside. Floyd Rose, the 75R car, knows it's time to go racing, consolation style, and it's either do or die right now. The final chance at getting a starting spot at tonight's 50-lap feature event. 3 cars will qualify. Hot shoe, Johan Hogney on the outside. He comes down the home straightaway. The green flag flies, and we go racing. Floyd Rose, center line, 3 abreast down there in the number 2 turn for the number 1 spot. We've got problems down there in turn number 2. Kenny Bogar, Gary Woods, and it might be Billy Green caught on the outside. It is the 24 car of Billy Green, the 123 Kenny Bogar, the 18D of Gary Woods.
Right rear flat tire on the 123.
Well, Kenny Bogar got himself a right rear racing tire gone flat. Caution lights have now been turned out. The race safe systems have been turned off. And the Fulton Chevrolet pace car swings down to the inside. 1 lap has now been complete. 1 down. 7 more times around. And Bobby Ryder, the Colonial Diner, 517 car. Hammer down the home straightaway. We go back to racing. Ryder on the inside. Here comes Johan Hogney, the International Motor Plaza's 15 car. He moves out to the outside. Hammer down the back straightaway. Grabs the number 1 spot. Bobby Ryder back there in spot number 2. Eddie Redner is third. Floyd Rose back there in the number 4 spot. Remember, 3 cars qualifying. We've got problems down there in turn number 3. Stevie Birchwell, Tim Ross, and the J3 of Mark Braun come together. Caution lights have now been turned off. The race safe systems also turned off. 75 of Floyd Rose going to try and make it back out onto the racing surface. Fulton Chevrolet pace car down to the inside. Johan Hogney knows it's time to go racing. Here we come on a turn number 4 starter. Kenny Marshall got the green flag applied, and we go back to racing. Johan Hogney grabbing back the number 1 spot. Kevin Blacken working on the inside. Bobby Ryder for the number 2 spot. Ryder on the outside. Here comes Eddie Redner. Steady Eddie down the back straightaway. Redner, 1 spot from qualifying right now in the number 4 spot. Kevin Blacken, look out for Bobby Ryder, down sideways in turn number 3. He gets them all straightened back around, opens up his eyes, and well, he's not in a qualifying position anymore. But Bobby Ryder in a beautiful save with the Colonial Diner 517 car. Coming out this time, the 15 car, Johan Hogney. Eddie Redner is second. Blacken back there in the number 4 spot. 77J of Mark Lowe up there in the number 3 spot right now. Johan Hogney brings him down the straightaway, stretching out the number 1 spot. Eddie Redner back there in the number 2 group right now, running back there in the hot seat position. 3rd spot, the 77S of Glendale Zotto. Zotto holds on to that number 3 spot with Kevin Blacken back there in the number 4 spot. Only 3 cars qualified. Coming up to that 2-lap to go side. 2 to go this time around. Here we come down the home straightaway, the 15 of Johan Hogney stretching it out. 2nd spot still Eddie Redner. Glendale Zotto back there in the 3rd spot right now, trying to close the door on the SOS Fuels car of Eddie Redner. Redner holds on to the runner-up position, motoring down the back straightaway, looking for the white flag this time around. 7 laps have now been complete one more time around for the first of 2 Tuit Sportsman consolations. Johan Hogney holds on to a beautiful number 1 spot. Motoring down the back straightaway right now. 2 more left turns. He got himself a consolation win. Eddie Redner back there in the number 2 spot. Kevin Blacken now back there in the number 3 spot. Here we come. The checkered flags come out. The winner with the first consolation, Johan Hogney. Second spot, Eddie Redner. Third spot, the 32K of Kevin Blacken. Kevin Blacken picking up the final transfer spot. Marty Jones back in spot number 2 goes to the 19C of Gary Carl. Row 2 is the 57 of Dave Ketty and the 24 Mike Caravino. Row 3, 31 of Drew Fallis and the 00 junior of Ray Ackerley. Row 4, the 1 of Dave Werber and the 8.5 of Herb Roach. Row number 5 goes to the 27B of Bucky Tercerio and the 11 of Ted Miller. Row 6 goes to the 12C of David Cohn and the 3 of Brian Hennon. Row 7, the 85 of Phil Dickinson and Brian Santori. John Holland, Russ Crotty, row 8. Ricky Lapine and J.D. Taylor, row 9. John Corey and Jim Spanner, row 10. And Willie Osborne round out the starting lineup. So the final stab, trying to get the final 3 qualifying spots for tonight's 50-lap feature event. Set to go as the Fulton Chevrolet pace car sets them free. Up in turns number 3, Kevin Van Valkenburg, Gary Carl, side by side to get set to come off at turn number 4. Starter Kenny Marshall got the green flag waving up high in front, and he has Kevin Van Valkenburg stands on it down the front straightaway towards the number 1 corner we go. Herb Roach makes a bonsai move up on the high side, trying to work himself in the top 5 running order. Didn't work. Front end collapsed just a little bit. Everybody gets by him safely as they hit down the back straightaway. Kevin Van Valkenburg hangs on to the number 1 spot with Mike Caravino, now beginning to give chase to the 19 of Gary Carl. Carl holds on to second. Look out, Carl and Caravino get it together. Everybody trying to find a way around as the caution flag flies. So Gary Carl and Mike Caravino get it. We got them 3 abreast here in row number 2. Assistant starter Randy Filipowski hanging that white board back with the number written on it and the big word back. It lets the driver know exactly which one is supposed to fall back. Now, number 31, Gary Carl, was supposed to fall back, which he did. Themselves a qualifying spot for tonight's feature lineup. Bill Green, who was in the first consolation, had some problems over in turn number 2. He's one of our top 5 pointmen here at the Orange County Speedway in 1991, bringing home spot number 4. So he's a guaranteed starter. The other 4 cars from Orange County, Tommy Meyer, Bobby Knipe, Rick Mill, and Tim Heinley, have all got themselves a spot already. And looking over at the, well, we'll get back to that in just a moment. Since the track is now clear, caution is turned out around the Speedway. A beautiful 1991 Fulton Chevrolet pace car sets him free up in turn number 3. Kevin Van Valkenburg knows it's time to go racing once again up in turn number 4. He's side by side with Dave Kitty. They hit the go-ahead mark up in turn number 4. Van Valkenburg punches the accelerator right through the floorboards down the front straightaway towards turn number 1. We got him going like a freight train. Kevin Van Valkenburg powers away to the number 1 spot, and here comes Ray Ackerley. Ackerley now takes over the runner-up spot down there in turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Coming off at turns number 3 and 4, Van Valkenburg holds on to the number 1 spot. Caution out around the Speedway. This time we got a pair of Orange County regulars up on the front row. A couple of orange cars, the 20K of Kevin Van Valkenburg and the 00 Junior of Ray Ackley. Both of them hard chargers here in the 1991 season. Caution lights get turned out. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car sets them free down in turn number 3. A pair of orange cars up on the front end. 20K 00 Junior side by side. Kevin Van Valkenburg, Ray Ackley. The right foot goes down on the accelerator. Down the straightaway side by side. Driving down towards turn number 1. Kevin Van Valkenburg down on the low side. Gets outpowered now by Ackerley. Ackerley on the high side. Keeps the RPMs up. Grabs the number 1 spot away. Kevin Van Valkenburg falls back to the runner-up spot with Ted Milor. Rounding out the final transfer spot right now. Spot number 3 goes to Ted Milor. 1 spot out of qualifying right now is the 31 of True Fouls as they come down off the turn number 4. 3 laps down. 5 to go for race leader Ray Ackerley. True Fouls hangs on to spot number 4, J.D. Taylor. Now enters the top 5 running order. A 3-time feature winner in the 1991 season. Holds on to spot number 5 off of turn number 2. 2 spots out of qualifying. Closes right up on the back door of Fouls as they go into turns number 3 and 4 side by side. Getting set to come off of turn number 4. 4 laps down and 4 to go for race leader Ray Ackerley now as he begins to stretch out the margin over Kevin Van Valkenburg. J.D. Taylor, man on the move right now, grabs the number 3 spot. Milor down on the low side, wants it back. Side by side, no they don't. Taylor outpowers him off of turn number 2. J.D. Taylor, your final transfer spot right now with Milor. Just 1 spot out. And here comes Drew Fowles. Fowles still running back in spot number 5 as we get set to come off of turn number 4. Ray Ackerley out of Katona, New York, running real strong right now on the 00 junior. Kevin Van Valkenburg, a very consistent and steady second place with J.D. Taylor. Look out for Drew Fowles. Boom, bang, boom, with down at turn number 2. They set the go race, and this time off of turn number 4. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car sets him free off of turn number 4. Ray Ackerley knows the quick way around. The right foot goes down on the accelerator. Green flag flies it down the front straightaway with motor. Kevin Van Valkenburg trying to work up to the high side right now. Mike Caravino works it up on the cushion right now. Holds on to spot number 5. Remember, Caravino came all the way from the back of the pack from lap number 2 as he goes down towards turn number 3. J.D. Taylor holds on to spot number 3. Dave Werber 4th and off of turn number 4. Caution out around the Speedway once again. Turned out once again off of turn number 4. This time it's going to be green and white simultaneously. Fulton Chevrolet pace car sets him free between turns number 3 and 4. Starter Kenny Marshall perched up high on the flagger stand, getting ready to drop the green and the white side by side simultaneously. 1 by 1, green and white go together down towards turn number 1. Kevin Van Valkenburg puts the pressure on Ackerley now as we go in between turns number 1 and 2. Ackerley down low, Swift School slides it up to the high side. Van Valkenburg keeps it down on the low side. Conservative trying to hold on to the runner spot with J.D. Taylor, your final transfer man. Last lap action open turns number 3 and 4. Dave Werber slings underneath Taylor. Coming off of turn number 4, your consolation victor is Ray Ackerley. Second going to be a close one is J.D. Taylor and Dave Werber round out the qualifying spots. 4th place by a new... being congratulated by the folks from Dutch's Overhead Door. Johan, $100 in your pocket, and you made it to the feature. How's it feel?
Oh, it feels good. It's been a while since I came to Victory Lane here, but may not be a real feature, but it's good to get here anyway.
Well, it's quick gas money, and what do you think your chances are from the back of the pack?
It's going to be rough. I'm just going to try and be easy for a while just to make it through the first 30 laps and then take it from there.
Well, you got 50 laps, a long way to go. Be cautious. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right, Johan Hogney picking up one of the consolation victories down. So you got up to the number 1 spot. How does it feel for feature time?
We got a couple little things we got to change, but, you know, these guys work so hard on this car. Charlie, Al, Mark, the Bear, John, my father, my fiance Paula. I mean, these guys put hours and hours in this car, and we're finally getting things worked out, and we'll be in good shape come feature time.
Well, best of luck to you.
I'd like to say, too, come Sunday I'm getting married. This is a little pre-wedding gift for you.
All right, now we're going to step over here and talk to Daryl Hanson.
lap feature event. 31 of the nation's finest dirt sportsman drivers prepared and ready to go for 50 laps of non-stop thrilling feature event action. And to kick off this Eastern States Racing Weekend event, the best way we know, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to ask you to do something for us as they come down the straightaway this time. Get something up in the air and wave at them as they come by. Get up their hats, those hands, those handkerchiefs. Hey, a hot dog or a hamburger, maybe the person alongside of you. Wish these drivers well on 50 laps of dirt sportsman feature event action. You see them coming down the straightaway right now. The final time before we turn them loose for the big $1,500 to win feature event. Hey, backstretch driving, come alive, light up those lights, honk those horns as these drivers go down the back straightaway. Let's send off these 31 dirt sportsman drivers in the best way we know with a big Orange County welcome. Here they go, down the back straightaway right now. The caution lights have now been turned out. The race safe systems have been switched off. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car getting set to swing back to the inside. Remember, caution laps do count until lap number 45. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car moves it down to the inside. Tommy Meyer, the F&S Service 33 and a third car, comes out of turn number 4. He hits it down to the accelerator coming down the home straightaway. The green flag flies, and here we go. Switching lanes down in turns number 1 and 2 goes to the outside, and here comes Greg Hickson. Hickson, the outside invader, puts on an early first lap charge, but Tommy Meyer outpowers him down the back straightaway. Tommy Meyer, that 33 and a third car, keeps the horsepower up on the rim shot, motoring out of turn number 4 and down the home straightaway. Greg Hickson back there in spot number 2. Jeff Sassio running back there in the third spot. Hickson once again had figured out that if he's going to get around Tommy Meyer, he's going to have to do it on the inside. But Tommy Meyer very potent down the straightaways. Meyer stretching out the number 1 spot, motoring down to the turns number 3 and 4, the center line, racing groove for Tommy Meyer. Meyer very strong, pedaling down the home straightaway right now, and Greg Hickson back there in the number 2 spot. Jeff Sassio running back there in spot number 3, Art Collins is fourth. Collins back there in the number 4 spot right now, in car number 68, that's Art Collins in the Catham's car. Tommy Meyer, the F&S Service 33 in the third car, getting quicker and quicker as the laps roll on. Greg Hickson back there in the number 2 spot. Jeff Sassio running in third. Art Collins is fourth. Ryan Madsen, the 89 car, back there in spot number 5. Of course, Greg Hickson running back there in the second spot. We've got problems down there in turn number 2. Kevin Blacken, car number 32K, in trouble down there in turn number 2. Blacken now pulls away from that turn 2 area under his own power. Remember, caution laps do count. The 32 car now being put down a lap as the field came around and passed him this time. Kevin Blacken now 1 lap down in car number 32K, as caution laps do count here until lap number 45. The last 5 laps must be run under the powers of the green flag. And a $1,500 check getting prepared right now, paid to the order of one of these drivers. 5 laps down, 45 more times around. Tommy Meyer out of Westwood, New Jersey. Your current race leader, Greg Hickson, is second. Jeff Sassio back there in spot number 3. Art Collins then running back there in spot number 4, car number 68, followed by the 89 car, Brian Madsen, and the 18 of Bobby Knipe. The blue number 18, that's Ken Boniface back there on the inside of row number 4. Meanwhile, the caution lights have now been turned out. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car swinging back to the inside. Tommy Meyer knows it's time to go back to racing. Hot shoe, Greg Hickson on the outside. Not going to let him fall asleep this time. Here he comes out of turn number 4. The green flag flies, and we go back to racing. Tommy Meyer once again pulling the trigger very quickly. Holds on to the number 1 spot. Hickson in second. Art Collins back there in spot number 3. Bobby Knipe working on the outside of Jeff Sassio right now to make a break into the top 4 running order. Bobby Knipe on the outside, the RK Manufacturing Judd Construction number 18 car. A good runner here on a Saturday night spaces at the Orange County Speedway. And he's on the outside of Brian Madsen, and he minutes it over to door number 89 car. The battle going on right now for the number 5 position. Madsen on the inside, Knipe on the outside as they motor down the back straightaway. Brian Madsen, the inside lane is open. Madsen moves up alongside of Jeff Sassio, the number 4's place runner. Sassio, car number 46, up on the outside, goes a little bit too high. Sassio lets Madsen at right 5 for spots number 4 and 5. Tommy Meyer holds on to the number 1 spot, starts to stretch out the racing space between himself and second spot runner Greg Hickson. Art Collins looking very good back there in spot number 3, but here comes Brian Madsen, the 89 car, back there in spot number 4. Bobby Knipe rounding out the top 5 running order as we motor out of turn number 4. Brian Madsen on the inside. We've got problems down there in turn number 4.
Again.
32 car, Davey Flanagan in trouble down there at the pit entrance gate as he is up against the concrete. Caution lights fly once again with 9 laps down. Coming up on lap number 10 this time around, 10 down, 40 more times around. It's going to be a real shootout down to the wire right now with Tommy Meyer, Greg Hickson, and Brian Madsen up there, top 3 runners. And of course, lap money going out for this feature event, $10 per lap, with the exception of lap number 25. That's worth $100, brought to us by Judd's Construction from Sherman, Connecticut. $100 in Judd Construction, of course, that's a sponsor for Bobby Knipe, the number 18 car running down there in the number 5 spot right now. So an additional $100 going out to the leader of lap number 25 from Judd Construction, Sherman, Vermont. All other laps are worth $10. Tommy Meyer, Greg Hickson making up row number 1. Art Collins and Brian Madsen back there in row number 2. Bobby Knipe and Scott Schrader back there now in row. Bolton Chevrolet pace car swings back down to the inside. Tommy Meyer on the inside. Greg Hickson on the outside. Wheel to wheel. They come out of turn number 4 once again. Kenny Marshall got the green flag back in the air. We got some problems down there in turn number 4. And the yellow flag going to come right back out of the speedway. Guy Sheldon in car number 518 heading back to the pit area right now. Johan Hogney in the 15 machine, the International Motor Plaza's car. He pulls away under his own power right now, going to rejoin the tail side of the field. Track has now been cleared, and we'll go back to racing on the next time around. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car brings him down the straightaway this time. Fulton Chevrolet Cadillac Gio and Isuzu, located nearby in the intersection of Route 17M and 84 right here in Middletown, New York. And Fulton Chevrolet also bringing out the official safety truck for the Eastern States Racing Weekend. Lights have now been turned out. We're set to go back to racing. Tommy Meyer on the inside, Greg Hickson on the outside. They get set to take over the pacing duties right now as the Fulton Chevrolet pace car swings down into the infield. Here they come on a turn number 4. Meyer on the inside. He gets set to take back over the number 1 spot. Green flag flies and Hickson keeps it working on the outside. Hickson dives down to the inside. Art Collins trying to hold up that spot. We've got problems down in turn number 1. It's Eddie Redner. Steady Eddie, the number 9 car. Redner sideways down here in turn number 1. Well, that's going to bring out the yellow flag once again. Caution lights once again on around the speedway. This time at lap number 19. Chevrolet pace car moves back down to the inside. Gonna try it once again. Tommy Meyer, Greg Hickson coming on at turn number 4 right now. The green flag flies and we've got problems. Well, several cars involved down here. The 04 Junior Lenny Bogart. 17 of Tim Clemens, the 15 car, Paul Ross, the 24 Billy Green, the 15 car of Johan Hogney as well, 45 of Eddie Sweetman. Hogney moving away right now. Alton Palmer also experiencing a lot of damage down here in front of the start-finish stand. In car number 76.
Well, we got quite a few bent-up race cars down here. Dave Werber's car is completely destroyed. Jim Tuit Sr., well, he looks a little bent up in the front end, not too bad. Johan Hogney looks like he might be able to pull away. Tim Clemens is the only one a little shaken up right now, a little stiff-necked. And Lenny Bogart's still in his car, but all the other drivers, Paul Ross, Bill Green, and Guy Sheldon, everyone has gotten out of their car and seems to be okay. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens here in a few moments. But both complaining of a little neck injury, but other than that, everything seems to be okay down here.
Well, thank you very much, Rick Ryder, standing by down there at the accident scene on the front straightaway after the restart here, with 20 laps now being scored on the clock. And of course, the track has been blocked down there. The cars have stopped down in turn number 4, and we are not continuing to score any laps right now as the track is blocked. Just a second before we turn this field loose for the 2 ambulances to leave the speedway. The 1 ambulance will leave the speedway. We take it that they will be transporting Lenny Bogart for some observations to nearby Horton Hospital. So we're going to allow the Elliott's ambulance service to take that ambulance out of this infield before we turn the race back over to green flag action. Hot show up there at Cayuga County. He was a former point leader in this title just a couple of weeks back. He's back there in 3rd spot right now. Greg Hickson, the point leader, is in 2nd spot. And of course, Alton Palmer out of this event. He was 2nd in points coming into tonight's show. Scott Schrader, the 58 car in the point standings. Back there in row number 3, Jeff Sassio coming on board tonight in the Johnny Tomei number 46 car. Sassio, of course, a former small block champion at the Orange County Speedway quite a few years back. Ken Boniface, Another first-timer here for 1991, but a former point champion in the Dirt Sportsman ranks. Gone back like 2-3 years ago in the Dirt Sportsman division here at the Orange County Speedway. So the first time back behind the wheel of a Dirt Sportsman for the 1991 racing season. But Ken Boniface in that Bobby Knipe 18 ride certainly has not forgotten how to wheel that car around the 5/8 mile hard clay. Right back there in the fourth row, Rick Mill, of course, a 10-time feature winner here at the Orange County Speedway in 1991. Very hard charger in that Chappaqua Transportation Blanca Racing number 44 car. Rick Mill currently in 6th in the Hoosier Tire Mr. Dirt Sportsman ranks. And he's back there right now, and the in-caution lights have now been turned out, and we're set to go back to racing. Dirt Sportsman style on the 5/8 hard clay. The Fulton Chevrolet pace car moves back down to the inside. Tommy Meyer knows it's time to go back to racing. Meyer brings him out of turn number 4 this time. The green flag flies, and we go back to racing. Meyer keeping that inside groove. Greg Hickson going to try him on the outside this time. 3 abreast going into turn number 2. Greg Hickson stands on it going down the straightaway. Hickson grabs the number 1 spot. Bobby Knipe in trouble down in turn number 2. Knipe moves away into his own power, but Bobby Knipe a tough restart. And he is now in the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Greg Hickson grabbing the number 1 spot, but we've got problems down there in turns number 3 and 4. Yellow lights coming right back out of the speedway. Car, Eddie Sweetman, the Aki's friendly service car, getting around backwards down at turn number 3. And that brings out the yellow flag right now. 22 laps will be scored this time around. 21 laps have now been complete, working on lap number 22. Laps now complete, and Greg Hickson, the 1S car, your new race leader. Tommy Meyer out there in the number 2 spot. Brian Madsen 3rd. Rick Mill should be back in spot number 4. Jeff Sassio getting the word now that he belongs back in spot number 5. Sassio taking that number 5 spot. Tim Hindley then in spot number 6. 118 of Johnny Bellinger back there in spot number 7. Outside of row number 4 should be the 18 of Ken Boniface. And he should be restarting back there in 8th position. Alongside Johnny Bellinger in the 118 car. Ronnie Huber then back in spot number 9. In the Magnum Fabrications 357 machine. Caution lights have now been turned out. And the Fulton Chevrolet pace car getting set to swing back to the inside. Greg Hickson, the 1S car, brings it down the home straightaway. Tommy Meyer on the outside. And Meyer up there on the outside, the fast way around the Orange County Speedway right now. Meyer and Hickson, wheel to wheel, down the back straightaway. The drag race is on. Tommy Meyer sets himself up for turns number 3 and 4 on the outside, grabbing back the number 1 spot. He keeps the horsepower up on the rim shot, down there in turn number 4. Greg Hickson tries to keep it down on the inside line. Rick Mill back there in that 3rd spot. Ryan Madsen 4th, Jeff Sassio back in spot number 5. Tim Hindley then running back in spot number 6. Hindley back there in the purple 17 car, running back in spot number 6. We're coming up on the halfway point this time around. And looking for the $100 lap coming up this time around. This lap worth $100 from Judd's Construction, and it's going out to Tommy Meyer. Tommy Meyer, the 33 to 3rd car, now $100 richer. thanks to Tuit's Construction from Sherman, Connecticut, as he grabs back the number 1 spot. Rick Mill running in second, Craig Hickson on the inside for spot number 3, as we are now beyond the halfway point, and here to take you home the rest of the way, it's going to be Joe Morano.
All right, Tim, and Tommy Meyer up there in the number 1 spot, but Rick Mill now closing the gap up and trying to reel him in. Brian Manston is also knocking on a door out there. Remember, the Sunoco Race Safe Hoosier Tire Championship Trail event, and it goes down pretty much to those 2 hot shoes. The leader of the point chase is the driver of car number 1S, Greg Hickson, who is now faded to the number 4 position, and Brian Manston, who's up to the number 3 spot. Manston is your 4th place, actually your 3rd place running car in the point standings. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that right now. But meanwhile, back attention to the Speedway as they come down here in the front straightaway, and the lead car starting to pull away. Tommy Meyer in the lead car, and Rick Mill riding back there in the number 2 spot, car number 44. Mill works off the number 2 corner. It's Brian Maston still running back there 3rd in the number 4 spot now. It's the 1S of Greg Hickson, and back there 5th is Jeff Sascio in car number 46. Here's your leader coming, pounding down the front straightaway, trying to open up a bigger lead, but Rick Mill hangs right with him. Mill now working the draft, going down to the number 1 corner. Manston still rides back in the number 3 spot. On of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Look at Rick Mill now trying to reel him in, going down to that number 3 corner. The air is ruffled just a little bit as they go down to turn number 3. Lead car here in the front straightaway. And here's Mill looking down on the inside. Meyer holding on to that number 1 position. Meyer gets up wide. Rick Mill looks down on the inside. Rick Mill's got a wheel on the inside. Rick Mill going down, drag racing down the back straightaway, down into that number 3 corner. Mill trying to get down on the inside, backs out of there momentarily. Now stands on it again, coming out of turn number 4. Moving up on the outside lane. Tommy Meyer trying to give him some racing room and trying to hold on to the lead. They go Nerf bar to Nerf bar. Off of turn number 2. Rick Mill's got a radiator cap now up into the lead, and he is scored as the leader as they go down the back straightaway. Rick Mill holding on to that lead, and now Meyer again trying to go up and around the outside. Meyer hanging right with him, staying right with the Nerf bar. Now drops back to the number 2 spot. It isn't over yet. Manston still back there in the number 3 spot. Hickson running back there forward. Sascio running in the number 5 spot. Ray Bliss is up in the number 5 position. It's Sascio back in the number 6 spot. Bliss in car number 27, the regular runner at the Genesee County Fair Speedway. He is really making a drive here in Orange County this evening. But Rick Mill in car number 44 has got virtually everything going his way. He seems to have the power at any point in the speedway that he wants. And Rick Mill now opens up a 3.5, 4-car advantage in between the corners. But right now Meyer tries to close back in. Tommy Meyer trying to close back in. Rick Mill may be having a tire going down aboard the number 44 as he's been getting up a little bit wider going down into the turns. We'll look at that car as it comes down out of turn number 4 and checking it coming down the front straightaway. Rick Mill seems to be having a little bit of a handling problem as he bobbles going through the corners just a little bit. If there is a problem right now, it is not affecting the car as he opens up even a bigger lead coming out of turn number 2 and heads down the back straightaway. Now with an 11-car advantage. Rick Mill, though, in just a couple of laps, will be encountering traffic, and the move-over flag will be out. But it could make for some very difficult racing. Six laps have been completed, and Rick Mill, Tommy Meyer, Brian Manston in the number 3 spot, Hickson running back there 4th, it's Bliss running 5th, Sascio runs in the number 6 position. That's the way they are, the top 6 virtually all together. But Mill will be the first to encounter the traffic. Rick Mill lets out a little bit of sparks going down on the number 1 corner. We'll watch him as he comes out of turn number 2 and heads down the back straightaway. Rick Mill now encountering the traffic as he goes down into that number 3 corner. Mill now not letting off at all as the traffic is coming up on him. The move over flag is out. And Rick Mill takes the modified to the outside part of the speedway. And this is where we could have it. Again, Sparks coming off of that number 44. We see it going down in that number 2 turn. Rick Mill. Heavy traffic coming up on leader Rick Mill. Rick Mill goes to the outside part of the speedway. This time the signal coming down to leader Rick Mill. 10 laps remaining. 10 laps remaining for Rick Mill in car number 44. And he's got some heavy traffic right in front of him. Tommy Meyer still riding right there in the number 2 spot. Back there in the number 3 position, it's Brian Mansted. Off of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. The leader clears the traffic. The leader going down into turn number 3, but the leader now will have some heavy traffic coming up on him. And this could be very critical here in the latter stages of the Duchess Overhead Door 50-lap championship event. Rick Mill getting up wide into the traffic up there. Moving down into the number 2 corner. Car number 99 directly in front of him, Chuck Bauer. They move down the back straightaway, going down into that number 3 corner. And this is where it could all happen, where it could change the difference in the race. Rick Mill now elects to go to the outside part of the speedway. Mill taking it up on the high side. He gets by Bauer. Now coming up on Kevin Blackham. There's some heavy racing directly in front of him, and this could be very, very critical for the leader. Tommy Meyer way back there, though, in the number 2 spot. He seems to be fading just a little bit. Mansden still holding on to the number 3 spot. Down in between the corners. The traffic is very heavy on the leader right now. And the leader boxed up in traffic as they go down into turn number 1. He is boxed in traffic, but Meyer can't seem to take advantage of it. Meyer holds on to the number 2 spot. He cannot close in on the leader. And Rick Mills doing a tenacious job holding on to that lead, weaving through the traffic and bringing it down out of turn number 4. 6 laps to go. The leader now clearing some of the traffic, closing in on more traffic. Mayer still back there, a distance in the number 2 spot. Rick Mill works off of turn number 2. Rick Mill works down to the number 3 corner, and a big puff of smoke out of Mill's car in turn number 3. Here he comes out of turn number 4. Rick Mill getting up on the high side, and Tommy Mayer is closing in now. Tommy Mayer is closing in as they come working out of the turn number 2. Rick Mill, car number 44, had that big lead, but Mayer may be running into problems as smoke started to develop from the power plant to that modified. Coming down out of turn number 4, here's your leader. The move over flag is out. Mayer clears the traffic. Mayer wants to get right up on the back bumper just in case there's that last desperation to get in there and make that move. But Rick Mill's got everything going his way right now. He clears 2 of the slower markers going down the back straightaway. He's got them in between he and second place Mayer. Mayer holds on to the number 2 position. Mayer now makes a move trying to come up and around the outside of the traffic. And Mayer now momentarily blocked in traffic. Doug Scheer directly in front of him. And this could be the difference right here. Back in the number 3 spot right now, it appears to be Bliss, as Mansden may have dropped to the number 4 position. Sign coming down onto the speedway. 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go for Rick Mill. Tommy Mayer back there to number 2 spot. Here's third. It's Brian Mansden running third. Back in the number 4 spot, it's car number 1S, Greg Hickson. Back in 5th spot, it's Ray Bliss and car number 27, Sashio, in the number 6 position. White flag ready to come out. It's out for the leader. And And right now, Rick Mill, car number 44, pushes up high in turn number 1, but it looks like he's got enough steam and stamina left to go the distance. A half a lap to victory. Ladies and gentlemen, over there in the number 3 corner, car number 44 wheels the Sportsman car. And a 1991 Duchess overhead door champion in the Sportsman division is the 44 of Rick Mill. Finishing second, Tommy Mayer. Back in the number 3 spot. As they come charging down the front straightaway, it's going to be Brian Manston. Greg Hickson will be credited for the number 4 spot. Ray Bliss will be 5th. I believe 6th will be Jeff Sassio in the number 46 car. Well, ladies and gentlemen, checking with the officials upstairs here, and even though Brian Manston finished 1 position ahead of Greg Hickson has enough points to stay up there in the number 1 position, and Greg Hickson will be the 1991 Hoosier Tire Race Safe Sunoco Racing Gasoline Championship Trail champion for 1991 in the Sportsman division. So a double victory coming down onto the Speedway. Rick Mill, the regular runner out of Orange County Fair Speedway, coming into the Speedway in 6th spot in the Sunoco Racing Gasoline Championship Trail, wins the event. They're going to be going to the scales first. And Greg Hickson, who finished back in the number 4 position, has been credited and will be given the...
So, of course, walking home with 2nd place. Brian Madsen grabbing 3rd spot. Greg Hickson back there in 4th place. Your Mr. Dirt Sportsman champion for the 91 season. And Ray Bliss, the 27 car, doing a good job rounding out the top 5 feature finish. Well, Rick Mill gets the Jablanca Racing 44 car brought to us by Chappaqua Transportation, all straight and back around. And he wheels it down here into victory lane right now. The 11th feature win of the 1991 racing season here at the Orange County Fair Speedway for Rick Mill. And by far, probably one of the biggest dollar wins of his entire racing career, as he brought the Jablanca Racing 44 car back into victory lane, the Thunderbird-bodied Dirt Sportsman modified car. The folks out here once again from Duchess Overhead Doors, the only real garage door company, located in Poughkeepsie and Albany, New York. Yeah, we'll be getting a few words with the folks from Duchess Overhead Doors in just a little while, as Rick Mill gets the helmet off of the car, Well, here he is, ladies and gentlemen, climbing out of the car, the winner of the Duchess Overhead Door 50-lap feature event, Rick Mill. Well, Rick, you didn't have an easy time grabbing that lead out there tonight. You had to do some heavy contending with the hot shoe top out there, and when you were racing side by side, did you really think you had that extra little bit of oomph that it took to get by Meyer?
He looked like he was starting to slip a little bit, and he was drifting up a little, so I just tried to stay on the bottom and took a few laps, but we got by him.
Now, what went through your mind when you got into that heavy lap track into the race, and did you know just how close Tommy Meyer was to you?
I wasn't really sure where Tommy was. I was just concentrating on the lap car. Some of those guys didn't seem to want to move over. They were racing, but they're racing for position too, so.
Well, the 11th time you won here at the Orange County Speedway in 1991. We saw you do a good job at rolling wheels 2 weeks ago. By far, this got to be one of the richest feature wins of your entire racing career.
Yeah, this one's really going to help pay some of the bills. We did a lot of damage at Fonda last week, and so this will pay for the damage we did there.
Certainly helped cap off the 1991 season in style.
Yeah, it was a good season, and I want to thank Chappaqua Transportation, our main sponsor, and Stanley and Maria Jablanca and the whole crew. They did a real good job this week, and we're really moving.
Well, Rick Mill, an outstanding effort out here tonight, and congratulations once again. You can join the folks up here in the victory lane photographs right now.